thanks for joining us. This is NTV, Non-Traditional Voices, your podcast program through Adult Commuter and Transfer Services where you get a chance to tell your story. I'm here today with Melanie and David. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good. So we're gathering stories, and I want to hear your story. You are a married couple, and you're both attending ETSU.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what that's like.
I guess I'll start. I came to ETSU right out of high school in 95. Lasted about a semester. I met David. We got married. We had a family. We have a 13-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. I went to work at a doctor's office here in town in 1999, so I've been there 12 years. And have figured out that even though I have lots of experience without a degree, I'm very limited. Mm-hmm. The doctors that I work for and my administrator at work has been very supportive and encouraging to help me make the decision to go back to school. So I decided it was time for me to go back to school. About the same time that I decided it was time for me to go back to school, we had some life changes. My dad got really, really sick. My dad and David worked together. They had their own business, and so it kind of was gone. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of worked out.
Kind of made a natural flow into getting you back in school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess always in the back of my mind, I kind of knew that I was going to go back to school eventually, even though I did like the same thing she did. I went to UT in Knoxville after high school and lasted a semester there and, had a good time. So then we moved back here. We actually met. We were both working at Wendy's, so we're here across the street when we met. And like I said, we got married and had kids and... so we were just mostly focused on working and providing for the kids. And then, like she said, I was working with her dad. I worked in fast food for a while. And then I felt like I wasn't getting enough time with the family working in fast food. So I started working with her dad. We had a remodeling business we did for a while. And we actually did pretty well. And then when he got sick, I needed to figure out what I was going to do next. And so it was a good time for me to go back to school. And having worked in that business helped me to realize, where I was lacking in my business skills and to be able to do what I wanted to do, which, I've always wanted to have my own business of some sort. So like I said, it just made sense. We didn't know how we were going to do it as far as with the kids and the money and all that sort of thing, but you can't wait till you figure everything out. Sometimes you just got to jump in there.
That's great advice. I like that. That's
so we have our little system, and like I said earlier, I go to school at night. Mm-hmm. I work 40 hours a week. He's at home with the kids during the day, and then when they're out of school, and then when they're in school, he's in school. Mm-hmm. He's at home with the kids at night, takes care of the house. He does I don't know what I'd do without him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good setup.
Yeah, it is. It works out really well. So, and we're really getting close to the end. I will graduate this coming December. So
congratulations!
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Yes, it's been very challenging but very rewarding.
Yeah. You guys had mentioned earlier you did a semester, a little bit of time when you first got out of high school. How did that time compare to now? Do you feel there's any changes?
Yes and no. I think it would have been personally easier to go straight to school and finish school. But for me and I think for most people right out of high school, they don't know. I mean, when I came to ETSU in 95, my intentions were to go to pre-med. And like I work in the medical field, but I don't like any kind of bodily fluids.
It's the icky factor. That keeps you away.
So I found out that the administrative part, the paperwork, the things like that, that's where I fit, and that's what I like to do. And I work in administration, I work in medical records, and I do a lot of things. So even though I'm still in medicine, it's a more business.
Sure.
So at the time, I think I might have wound up doing something I wasn't happy with, and so it kind of took a long way about it. But coming back to school as an adult, I think you take more, I guess pride is a good way to say that. I don't know. You strive to do really well. He and I have both done really well. We've been made the dean's list almost I think I've missed one semester and he's only missed one or two. So it's
So you're a little more focused.
yeah. And like I came right out of high school one semester. The second semester I was enrolled, but didn't really kind of come to class that much.
Yeah.
So I graduated in the top 10% of my class in high school, but by the time I was done with my second semester of ETSU, my GPA was like 1.8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So here I am getting ready to graduate, and I've brought it back up to like a 3.4.
Congratulations.
So
That's great.
Yeah.
So, and you had the same sort of situation, yeah?
Yeah, I actually did a fresh start when I came back this time. I did do a couple of semesters, I think, back in 97, around the time that our son was born.
Mm-hmm.
But then just fell back out of it, because I had to focus on working more at the time. So with the fresh start, I was able to, right from, keep my GPA up, which has helped me, which is, because...
Now, that's the forgiveness program for...
Yeah, what it basically wipes out all your old records and old grades.
So if someone started out right out of high school and maybe didn't take it seriously or party too much or was in the wrong major and took time out to kind of get it all sorted, you can come back and you're not getting deducted GPA points right off the bat. That's great.
As low as mine was, his was much worse. So it worked out. But there was a lot of credits.
He said he was having a lot of fun.
Yeah. There was a lot of credits I could keep, so that kept me. I think I was a semester
a lot to do in Knoxville besides schoolwork.
Ahead of him. So yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't that hard to do. You did have to have some, qualify certain circumstances, and I had to write a letter to the dean and that sort of thing. But it wasn't hard to do, and that's helped a lot.
Yeah, that's a great program.
Yeah,
and like she said, as far as what the differences are between now, I mean, some things are the same. And one of my problems when I was younger, like she said, is I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I still don't really know what I want to do.
Yeah.
But this time I have a little more incentive and motivation, for one with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And just like she said, being older, sometimes you're more interested in things that, before you didn't understand why you should care. But, now that I'm older. So
tell me what you're studying now that you say that.
Well, just accounting. Not so much the accounting, but investments, is interesting, but it's still a balance between, when you're younger, you don't care just because, you don't really care. But now, as I have kids, I have a balance between, is trying to figure out how to evaluate a stock more important than spending time with my kids. So, you have to try to find a way to balance that. Mm-hmm. But it's still interesting. And like I said, I guess I care more about, what the stock market's role is or how businesses account for their money and that sort of thing. Whereas, when I was younger, I mean, why should I care?
Right.
I didn't, but maybe I should have, but I didn't.
So you were talking about the kids. How do you think they perceive you guys as college student parents? Do you think that has an impact on their
I think so. Yeah. And we try to tell them that we want them. Our kids are very smart. We're very lucky. And they both seem to enjoy school. Of course, our son's 13. He's a 13-year-old boy. No 13-year-old boy really likes school.
You can, yeah.
But we try to teach them that it's, to stay with it because they're both smart and they can go so far and do so well that if they apply themselves now, they can go to any college they want to do, want to go. They need to find out now what they really enjoy out of life so they can focus on that. And I prefer that they go right into school, but that's their decision to make. Mm-hmm. But it works out good because we're at home and we have homework to do and they have homework to do. Yeah. And it's a little different than before when it was just you standing over them going, do your math.
Yeah.
So now we kind of do homework together.
That's fun. That's got to make for a great way to kind of balance things out like you were talking about.
Sometimes, when you don't have to spend too much time helping them with their stuff, but the idea that we're setting a good example for them and hopefully we're encouraging them to want to learn, and that's a big part of it, and that means a lot.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the best benefits of having children and being a student. I mean, it's always hard to be a parent and be a college student at the same time. That's hard for everybody. I think that the best part about it is knowing that you're kind of instilling those, value of education in the kids because that's so important for their future.
And we try to tell them too, because it does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time out of what you can do with your time with your children, time with your family. And so we try to make them understand that it's worth it for us because, we'll be done soon and then we'll have, be able to better ourselves, better our lives for them and then be able to spend more time with them then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of we try to teach them that they have to sacrifice mommy and daddy just a little now so they can get more of us later.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. That's an important value for kids to learn too, delayed gratification.
Yeah.
And seeing that you guys are doing it even though you waited or, left and came back and still be, able to get it done. I think that's a really, really great example to set for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think you're going to stay in the medical field? You've been with your same employer for 12 years. That's great.
I would say so, yes, because it's what I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I enjoy the management aspect. I wouldn't want to say I'm one of those people that likes to tell people what to do.
But I like leadership skills.
I have leadership skills, and I'm personally may not have the most organized life, but I can organize people.
Right.
Wouldn't necessarily want them to do anything I couldn't do. I wouldn't ask them to do something I couldn't do. But if it takes me out of the medical field eventually, that's fine too. It'll just broaden my horizons and teach me more. So, but for now, yeah.
That's exciting, and you're probably going into business.
Yeah, hopefully. It's kind of up in the air right now. There's the possibility of working, getting in somewhere and doing accounting work and gaining experience in that. Because, after graduation, I'm going to have to get out and start making some money. That's another big part of this, all the debt, that comes
loans.
with it. But, but then there's always, like I said, I would love to run my own business, and whatever that may be. I mean, I've had a lot of experience in different areas, so, hopefully I'll find something that I can use the skills that I've learned and get into and be successful. But, even though I think that's been a challenge for me, like I said, not knowing exactly what I'm going to do makes it hard, but I've just focused on the school for now, because before I left school and gave up, but now I feel like, well, if I can at least get to this and get that goal out of the way, and then I'll have accomplished something, and then I can go from there and figure out what I'm going to do next.
Taking things one step at a time rather than focusing on the bigger picture has been a big help for you.
Oh yeah, definitely,
that's
definitely.
Great
I mean,
advice.
when I have those days when I wonder, gosh, do I really want an accounting degree? Is this really going to be worth it? Is this really what I want? Well, everybody's going to have doubts, sometimes, but the easiest thing to do is just think, well, I've come this far, let's stick with it, and it's going to work out.
Yeah.
It's going to open up doors for me and lead me down paths that I never would have had access to had I, where I'd have quit and give up or whatever. So, yeah.
That's great. So I want to ask you guys if you have anything that you want to tell if there's a prospective student who's considering coming back to school but maybe having doubts because they have a family or they're busy or they're not really sure what they want to do. What advice would you give them?
I think this probably is my female perspective on the advice. But if you have a family and you're thinking about coming back to school, you have to have a support system because you can't do it on your own. There's no way I couldn't, even so much as sometimes I don't have time to study like I need with work and school and the kids and stuff. And he's very helpful in that aspect because if I get stumped on something, he's pretty good about being able to say, help me understand it. Now, granted, if I do understand something, it's separate than his way. And if he tries to tell me something, it's just bad. We learn differently, but if I don't know it, he can teach me. So that's good. But on top of that, my mom and dad are very supportive too. So I know if something happens and we do have classes together, they're there to take care of the kids. I don't have to worry about my kids. I know they're taken care of. That's not another expense we have to incur. So I think a good support system is definitely needed.
Yeah.
And then, a desire to do it. I was to the point that this is what I wanted to do. And it's been my goal to get my grades up and
you've done it.
And I've done it.
Excellent.
So
that's great. That's great. Do you want to add something to that?
Well, it's funny that she would say from a female perspective, because I thought the same thing when you asked the question. Is that a support group? I mean, like she said, her parents have helped us out and watched the kids when we needed them to. We've had other people, willing to help out and pick them up from school, things like that, because schedules don't always work out to where I can pick them up from school, and so that's really important, and taking advantage of all the things that the university offers too, because they do have some childcare services here. There's all kinds of tutoring and help, with things like that for people who feel like they're overwhelmed.
Yeah,
just by the work.
I think it's great. ETSU has kind of a built-in support network.
I mean, I guess I feel kind of lucky is, I haven't had to spend time, getting extra help, because I'm usually pretty good at, keeping up with my work on my own. And so that's helped me. But knowing that it's there, that's important.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us here at NTV. We are collecting non-traditional stories from non-traditional students about their experiences here on campus. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.